All right. Hola, hola amigos de XHGC, XHGC. Los saludamos y les informamos que en esta ocasión estaremos comunicándonos en inglés con un artista local. Su nombre es Dmitry Samarov. He's an artist, local artist who lives just south of our studio in Chicago. He happens to work at a staple bar in the south side of Chicago, the Skylark, right on the corner of South Halsted and Cermak Road in East Pilsen. He is the barman on the pintoresque Sunday nights. I used to work those nights with him too. I know him on a personal level. I hope he doesn't get offended by that. He has written books as well as columns, and he also paints excellent work focusing on such things as local bars or pets, for instance. He has contributed to the Chicago Reader reviewing films, and he's got a bunch of other work too. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about yourself, Dmitry, because I'm sure a lot of your work hasn't been mentioned on this brief introduction. Dmitry, how are you doing now that we are on a so-called shelter in place in the state of Illinois?
I'm doing just fine. I have no complaints, and this isn't that much different than my everyday life any other week, actually, so far.
Cool.
So, yeah, but what would you like to know about me, or what would your millions of fans like to know about me?
So we'd like to know how are things for a local artist in this city of Chicago. Is it worth being an artist, being in this city of Chicago?
Well, Chicago is a good city to live and work as an artist. It's not a great city to be famous as an artist. Do you
Sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So it's one of the few sort of semi-affordable cities left in America. It's much cheaper to live here than in New York or LA or San Francisco, uh,
Miami, for
Boston.
instance.
Yeah,
Boston.
any of these other cities. So that's good, but it's a hard place to be known for your work, uh, because it doesn't have uh, the same level of attention given to the arts as some other places. So it's a trade-off, But it's the city I chose. It's the city I went to art school in, and it's as close to home as I've ever felt. Is this city, and I have no plans of leaving.
That's good news for us Chicagoans. Yeah, I'm not a person who would, give a lot of compliments, but I think you're one of those people that are worth knowing personally, but are worth paying attention to because your point of view is really, realistic, very humanistic. It's hard for all of us to disassociate ourselves from, society. I love being alone. You're one of those people too, but we see a lot of those people coming out to the streets like they need another another person to approve of. I don't know what they're trying to prove, but
Yeah,
they're still going out and on an unknown situation like that we're living right now.
yeah. I've taken a walk every day, walk or a bike ride every day since the this whole shutdown began. So since Monday,
Right.
because Sunday night the bar was still open, so I worked. It was the last day that our bar was open.
True.
But the next day, the whole shutdown began, and each day I've gone out to take a walk, and there's people out there. But the supermarket's a little crazy, but not as crazy as it could have been, I guess. yet.
Right.
I don't know what this people's obsession with toilet paper is exactly. How many asses do each of them have? You know, I don't
Exactly.
know why that's the most important thing. Why there's like you have to line up and get only one pack or something. Like there's no toilet paper anywhere.
That
It's
is,
crazy.
yeah. I think people do it expecting to gain some type of either I don't know, certain type of like feeling of being in power. You know, like I have this thing that other people wouldn't have. You know, like it's kind
But
of
of all
a
things,
really weird
of all things,
effect.
yeah, it's very strange. That's the thing that people are most worried about. This toilet paper. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
of all the
it's
they could worry about. I mean, there's many other things you can use to wipe your ass. You know.
so many other things. I was recommending on Twitter last week, I think, someone who was
Uh-huh.
complaining about it. I think he showed a picture of him grabbing coffee filters. You know,
Uh-huh.
he's posting, oh, this is what I have left to wipe myself. You know, and I suggested
Yeah.
him a spray bottle. You
Yeah.
know, like there's certain measures one can take,
Well, sure.
and there's soap. All as long as you wash your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah. There's many. Somebody made a joke online about how maybe this is what'll convert Americans to using a bidet.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's the same thing as what it's a spray bottle. It sprays your ass.
Right.
Instead of using paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's a good thing that'll come out of it. I don't know. I mean, you were asking before we got on the air about if I had some opinion about Chicago or America being prepared for a thing like this. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's prepared for a thing like this.
Right.
There hasn't been a thing like this since the Spanish flu, I guess, which is 100 years ago.
Yeah, and not basically not an international
Yeah,
lockdown or shutdown since the World War II. I believe, right?
something like that. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm actually pleasantly surprised how many. It seems like the majority of people seem to be following the directions, which I'm surprised about because there's always this yelling and screaming in America about individual rights.
Right.
And I think most people seem to be trying at least to cooperate, which
Right.
is rare.
Right.
It if you watch the news here, that's not what you hear most of the time.
Right. Yes. I mean, it's it's strange times when the news actually show what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we finally found something that the great Marshall Cheeto can't lie or yell at.
Right. I mean, and
Because
you see the walking Cheeto, the Marshall
Marshall
Cheeto.
Cheeto, you know,
I love that. I love that.
I'm not
But
that,
you
that
see him.
that's the new one I came up with today is Marshall Cheeto, like Marshall Tito, but
I like it. You know,
I'm not using the fucker's name, so
and nobody should. I think that, and I hate. I don't hate things to start with, but I don't like referring to the guy. You know, I feel like referring to the guy
it's
is.
free publicity.
Yeah, it's publicity.
He
So
wins
we
every
don't
time
need
every
that.
time
We
we
don't need
use
that.
his name.
Right. So it's bad publicity for people who like us, who like or who would want them to take care of us. You know, like we
Yeah,
are all of a sudden with no shield for what's happened to us. You know, we
yeah,
have no production, not enough production for of like goods
mm,
for situations like these. You know,
yeah,
they keep on cutting healthcare provisions. They keep on cutting, you know, like what's important to society rather than,
yeah, yeah,
you know, like helping us out.
yeah,
You know, I feel really unprotected. I
yeah,
feel, you know, I don't feel like we should be panicking, but it's important to know that we are hardly protected, and I feel it's a little ridiculous and weird how he sort of like defends himself. You know, like
Well, always.
he goes ahead and does that live on conference, you know, on a daily conference, and he defends himself. You know, like what? I don't understand. I don't understand. He's supposed. I mean, it's okay that he's not creating any panic. That's good.
Mm.
For once, he's not being sensationalist. But
No,
I
he
don't
still
know.
gets in a few lies a day though, less than
He
before.
lies every day, man. Like
Well, he always has. Yeah,
you can't
yeah,
tell people you have it under control. You should tell people to stay home and you're working on it. You
yeah,
can't say it's under your control because it's not, you know.
yeah. But I don't know. I mean, my question to you is, even if we had a competent president, like a decent president, do you think there's some other country that is better equipped to deal with something like this? I don't know. I don't have an answer. You know?
I Well, we don't know anything about China, but they seem to have been controlling it pretty all right. But they did. I
No,
don't
but
know. I don't know
they've
if
had
they. I don't know if there
they've
was
been
an
dealing with it for months, though.
right, and I don't know if there was sufficient data for us or translated for
Yeah,
us to actually know what was going on with us. Because there's been other viruses, because it's been going on for years and years, you know, like it keeps on changing, and it just happened to ignite a different one, a new one, once somebody had something to do with a bat. I don't know the exact story, but it was on a fish market in Wuhan, China, right? So when people try and get as exotic as they can, they're like crossing a line
mhm,
between what is normal for us as human beings to do and what is just straight out stupidity, you know.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm going like out of the subject. What we're talking
That's
about,
okay. We're just talking.
your question about right about if another country would be prepared. I think so. I think China were able to handle it right because they have a more centralist system of
Yeah, well, sure.
govern. So
But
they were
so,
able to shut the country down. I mean
yeah,
the
quicker. Yeah.
yeah,
But then there's there's trade-offs. So it depends on like what you're would be willing to live with, because
exactly.
those powers allow them to shut other things down as well, like speech. you
Right.
know like in their country, if you say the wrong thing, you there are consequences,
Right.
very real consequences. So there, yeah, I don't know. And that's not any big defense of America. It's just a thing to think about.
Right.
Like how much you're willing to give up uh, for safety.
Right. Well, I don't want to get too into details because I don't have the exact data right now, and on
No,
my other
none,
screen,
none of yeah,
I'm sharing it with you, so I'm
yeah, I
not.
see it.
All right, cool, cool, cool. Do you like the slide show on the right? Can you
Yeah,
see it?
yeah, it looks all right.
Cool. I'm glad. What I was saying. Um. Oh shit! I left it. Oh yeah, I don't have the exact data to actually be talking about it, but you know, it's a virus that's new, so we know little about it.
Yeah,
That I highly doubt they're like right translations to what has been happening in Wuhan to
yeah,
compare them to what just happened in Italy in one day, so many
yeah.
deaths, you know. And
Well,
I
that
trust.
yeah, China won't share data that they don't want to share. you know.
Right.
So whatever information they've offered, I'm sure they've edited,
Right.
just like any country would, really, you know. There's no way that they'll just give you information, without thinking about what kind of message it sends, you know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for instance, calling the new virus the COVID-12 or 19. I don't know.
19.
19.
Calling
Calling it.
China.
Yeah,
Yeah.
calling it that a
Yeah.
derogative,
Yeah.
derogatory term like that. That is just shameful, and it's super, super unprofessional. For whatever angle you see it is just not correct, and it's okay if your intentions are weird. When I'm talking to if your intentions are weird for what happens after we get over it, if we get over it, because you don't know.
Yeah.
A vaccine could take 8 to 12 weeks, and for instance, the first tests that were out there were not approved by the FDA,
Yeah.
and we know, unfortunately, FDA people and a lot of them are just friends of friends. It's not like they got there because of their capabilities. So we're very unprotected in that perspective too. It's just a terrible chain of misfortune. And it's not a misfortune. Politics are like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm if I think about things, hopefully, then when this passes, maybe people in America will lower their standard of living, which
I
they
think
should
that's
have
a
done a
dream.
long time ago.
Yeah, that's
It's
a dream.
they live way beyond their means here, and they're wasteful. And maybe if they have less, maybe that won't be an entirely bad thing.
Yeah.
The I think things like that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
have no crystal ball. I don't know how this plays out, really. I don't know how long it lasts, obviously.
No, I mean, we gotta be optimistic. We gotta rely. We gotta. I mean, because the culture, especially in America, is very movie-like. So what you were talking about, you know, um, lowering your life,
Standard,
commodities and your
yeah,
standard
standard
of
of living,
life.
yeah.
Yeah. So when you lower it down, you actually find yourself thinking more because you have
Sure.
to be a little bit more creative and
Well,
for instance.
this quarantine is a chance for people to see if they can live with themselves,
Right.
quietly in their homes. And
Right.
I'm sure it's a huge challenge for a lot of people. Like we said at the top, it's not a big challenge to me. This
No, for
this
me.
doesn't look very different than my regular life. I
Right.
mean, like I miss going to restaurants and movies, but I'll live. I have to
Right.
cook. I have to cook at home. That's a bummer, but
Yeah, it's always an advantage when somebody else does it for you.
I know. I love restaurants. I love the whole
Me too.
concept of them. I love everything about it. You go in there and they cook for you, and you
Mhm.
eat. And then you
And
give them
you
money, and then they take the dirty plates away and they clean the plates. I mean,
perfect,
it's
perfect
wonderful. Yeah,
exchange. Yes.
it's fantastic, and I'm very happy to give them money to do that.
Yeah, I mean
And
they
I look
deserve the
forward
money.
to getting a chance to doing that again.
Right. No, you cannot tip yourself if you put it in that perspective.
What?
I said you cannot tip yourself when you do that all for yourself at home. You know,
No, no. And but I'm perfectly capable of preparing food for myself.
right.
It's fine. But yeah, that's a luxury to go out and eat in a restaurant, and I recognize that. So I have to live without that now, but that's a very small price to pay.
Oh man, that's a very small price to pay.
Yeah,
In Mexico or any other third world country, they don't go out to eat. We
Yeah,
have,
yeah. Oh, I
and
know.
we're really lucky living in
Yeah.
Chicago. You know, we have excellent cuisines. Except me being a Mexican, I
Yeah.
want to announce to people in Chicago
Uh-huh.
to actually make authentic stuff. Everything is so generic when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
Mexican food. There's a place downstairs from where I live that is they have amazing tacos. You know, they could have
Yeah.
a huge menu on food
Uh-huh.
because their recipes are excellent, but they choose to have only tacos and tortas and that type of stuff. But
You
it's high
notice
quality.
I've
But
looked,
you don't find that
I've never,
elsewhere.
I've never been to that place. Isn't that weird?
Maybe we can
I've never.
go if we get when we get over this virus. We should go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just because, well, they recently
I'm
have
sorry.